So thanks everybody that's joined in. This is week 5 of the 2018 college football season. This week, it's me and Michael going to put up our 7 best picks and talk about the reasons why we made these picks. And with that, let's jump right in.
Hey Clayton, how you doing? Thanks for having me on again. My first pick, I'm going to go with Friday night, UCLA versus Colorado. You got UCLA coming in at +9. I know they started out 0-3 with a loss to Cincinnati, 26-17, Oklahoma 49-21, and of course Fresno State last week, which hurt me in one of my plays at 38-14. I just don't see Chip Kelly starting out 0-4, especially playing Washington next week. I don't think they're going to win there. So I think Colorado is where they're going to pick up their first win, especially with a money line of +280 and the over-under at 60.5. I think money line +280 would be a good one for a parlay, but I'm gonna go with UCLA +9.
UCLA +9. All right. So my first pick is actually heading to the ACC. It's Virginia Tech and Duke. I'm looking at the total in this play. So I've got it projected somewhere around 41 to 43 points. If you look at some of the trends, you got Duke to the under is 12-5. Their last 17 as a home favorite. They're 20-9. Their last 29 as a favorite of any amount and any location. And also 7-1 their last 8 conference games. Virginia Tech coming off a game where they gave up a ton of points. I look for Bud Foster's defense to bounce back from his worst output as a defensive coordinator and go under the 51.
Under 51. I like it. My next play, I'm going to go with West Virginia and Texas Tech. Number 12, West Virginia, going into number 25, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is 3-1. West Virginia 3-0. Obviously, they had one of their games canceled against NC State. Texas Tech came out strong against Oklahoma State last week. West Virginia's played Tennessee. They beat them 40-14. Yale State 52-17, and then Kansas State 35-6. I don't think they've had a true test. I don't think Kansas State's as good as they. I think they were overhyped at the beginning of the year. Mississippi State, they beat them, and you saw what happened to them last week. So I'm going to take Texas Tech at +3.5, but a better play to me is to tease them up to +10.
I like it. All right, my second play is actually in the Big 12 also, and it's with Oklahoma and Baylor. So right now the total is 68.5. It's a large total. We know that Oklahoma can put up some offense. Baylor has put up a little bit of offense, but not a ton. If you look at Oklahoma and the trends to the under is 8-3, their last 11 versus a team with a winning record. If you look at Baylor, their under is 6-2, their last 8 versus as a road dog, and also 11-5, their last 16 as a dog. Period. Does not matter where at or any amount. I think Baylor tries to slow this game down and really tries to control the clock, and that's why I think it's going to go under the total of 68.5.
My next play is going to be from the SEC, South Carolina coming into Kentucky. Kentucky 4-0. South Carolina is 2-1. The over-under there is 51, and South Carolina is given 1.5 points. I think South Carolina, they held strong, throughout the first start of the game with Georgia. I thought Georgia was going to blow them out a little more. They ended up losing them 41-17. They ended up beating Vandy last week 37-14. Vandy cut it close against Notre Dame. Kentucky, I don't think they've had a real test yet. Florida, they beat them 27-16. We still don't know how good Florida is at this point. Mississippi State, like I said, they got a key win, I guess, against Kansas State, but we still haven't, we can't judge either of those teams. I think South Carolina +1.5.
I like it. All right, my third play, I'm actually heading to the Big Ten. So last week, Purdue got a huge win against Boston College where they were actually a home underdog by around of a touchdown. I didn't like that line at all. I thought it was very smelly. I passed on that completely, and for good reason. Purdue comes in, gets a big win there, and they keep that momentum going this week. This week they've got Nebraska. Nebraska still doesn't have a quarterback they can really rely on, and Purdue forced 4 interceptions last week against a pretty decent quarterback. Plus, they held A.J. Dillon to 59 yards. Purdue is 11-3 their last 14 road games against the spread. I have this number closer to 10, and therefore I'm taking Purdue minus the 3.5 to keep that momentum going at Nebraska.
I'm going to bounce one off over here. You just talked about Purdue. They beat Boston College last week. That's the game I'm looking at here, Boston College versus Temple. Boston College is 3-1. They've beaten UMass 55-21, lost, like you said, to Purdue. They do have a decent win that you called, Clayton, 41-34 against Wake Forest. Temple at 2-2. They did beat Maryland, who I think is a decent team. They have lost to Villanova, Buffalo, and they have beaten Tulsa. The line here I think is a little high. Temple plus 13.5. I like Temple teased to plus 20 on that.
13.5 teased up to 20.
Also money line plus 400. I think Temple has a good chance to win that game outright.
You like them? They got a chance to get it out right. I like it. A big dog. That's
the over-under there
very
too
low.
Is kind of low in my opinion at 53.5. I'd like to tease it down, take the over. So
I like it. So my fourth play is actually coming in the SEC. Last week I was on this team and they let me down. They didn't really do a lot, and that is in Tennessee. This week they're on the road at Georgia, and we know Georgia is stout, but they're getting 31.5 points. Tennessee put up 364 yards last week, which was only 23 less yards than what Florida had. The problem was they had 6 turnovers. So I know that this week they've been working on controlling that ball, not turning the ball over like they were. Georgia is 3-8 their last 11 as a home favorite of more than 10.5 points. Give me more than 4 touchdowns with Tennessee, 31.5 on the road. I'll take it.
I like that play as well, Clayton. I think that's a good one. I'm going to go here with my play at BYU plus 17.5 against Washington. BYU has come off a strong win against upset in Wisconsin. Washington, they have a key win against Auburn. I think Washington struggled so far this year. They haven't put up too many points. I think BYU keeps it close. I'm going to take BYU plus 17.5.
I like it. I like BYU is a good team this year, and I like that play. My fifth game is actually in the Pac-12 as well, and that is with Oregon. Last week, they had the lead, busted up that game, and gave it away. I really thought Oregon was going to do okay. They did for most of the game, and like I said, they just gave it away at the end. Oregon has heard this all week, how they gave the game away. I have Oregon in this game winning by more than 7. And so for that reason against Cal, I'm going to take Oregon minus the points 2.5 is what I'm seeing them at right now, and that's what I'm taking them at.
I'm going to go here and jump to the Big Ten with Ohio State and Penn State. Ohio State 4-0 coming in. Penn State 4-0. Penn State at home. I know they struggled against Appalachian State. Ohio State has been demolishing teams so far. Pitt has picked it up a little bit. Penn State has picked it up a little bit against Pitt, winning 51-6. I like Penn State teased up here, or I like Ohio State. I think they win the game. I think it's close. Penn State teased up, or Ohio State teased down is the play here.
I got you. So you could almost get a middle there if you set it up in a couple different teasers. I like that. Penn State has been starting out slow, but, man, they have got the offense to take care of business. We just got to see what they can do against a team that's on their level. So this is their first big test. Ohio State's already had one of those in TCU. I like that play. My next play is still in the Pac-12, and it is Washington State at home against Utah. This game opened up Washington State around -1. It is now Utah -2. Washington State is 8-3 their last 11 following a straight-up loss. They lost last week on Friday night to USC. They are 7-3 their last 10 conference games and 7-0 their last 7 home games. Last year, Washington State went to Utah and won this thing 33-25, and I know that's a full year ago, but I think Washington State just kind of outscores Utah here and gets the win outright, so I'm taking Washington State plus the 2.
I like that play as well, Clayton. My last pick is going to be in the Pac-12, going to USC and Arizona. USC minus 3.5. Um, they lost to Stanford 17-3, who's ranked number 10. They got drawn by Texas 37-14. They did come back and beat Washington State last week 39-36. To me, Arizona has not beaten anybody up to par. They did have a close matchup against BYU 28-23. Like I said, I'm willing to give up the 3.5 against USC, but I'd rather tease them to the plus side and take USC.
Got you. I like that. And I agree with you. I think USC's got a lot of talent, and they're going to wear down Arizona in this game because of that. My last game stays in the Pac-12 also, and this is one of those that I'm kind of iffy about, really scared about, just to be honest with you. But all my numbers when I projected them just really kept pushing to it. It's not a good team, and I know you're not supposed to put money on bad teams, but Oregon State at home catching 22 points against Arizona State. Last week, Arizona State definitely played a better team, Washington, which is, they've gave Washington a lot of hell for a long time. But Manny Wilkins, I believe is his name, the quarterback at Arizona State, and he just really could not do anything against Washington. If Oregon State can slow this game down, I know I say that a lot, but I think when you have a big underdog, that's what they need to do, and I think that's what they a lot of times try to do. Slow the game down, get into rhythm, and try to make some points early and continue that through the game to get themselves a chance in the fourth quarter. And for that reason, I have Oregon State plus 22, plus 22 if I could talk right, for my final play.
I like that. I know we had 7 plays picked out, but I just want to give 2 of them that I was looking at also because it was kind of hard to narrow down. And I also had a couple that you talked about as well. The Virginia Tech Duke game, I think Virginia Tech plus 5.5. I think that I know you were high on Virginia Tech at the beginning of the year, having them over 8 wins, was it?
Yep.
And I know they lost last week against Old Dominion. I think they work this week on getting back to the basics, and I'd like to tease Virginia Tech up to plus 12. Also, I was looking at Appalachian State minus 26. South, I'm willing to take the 26 with South at Appalachian State. I think South can hang with them. And Mississippi State and Florida, I was going to ask you what your thoughts were on that. Mississippi State minus 7.5.
That is a crazy game. By the way, I totally agree with you on that Virginia Tech game. I like it a lot. I was actually going to say that I think they could win this game outright. As far as Mississippi State and Florida, I actually have Mississippi State winning by 3. So I've definitely got them down, but still winning the game. And also, I got them going under the number.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like Mississippi State teased down. I think they're going to win the game, but I don't know about how much. And the last one is just coming off the win that they had last week. Speaking of Virginia Tech, Old Dominion plus 7 against ECU.
Yep, ECU is an up and down team. They played well against bigger opponents, and they also got blown out early in the year. So that is a team that you really don't know which way to go. But Old Dominion has got something to prove. I like it.
So you think Old Dominion plus 7?
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Good deal. I just want to thank everybody that has tuned into this and watched it. This is something we've been wanting to do. We'll keep it going and kind of keep up with each other's picks and see how we do over the season. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you, man.
60% of the time, it works every time.